Dwayne Haskins. Let's start with Dwayne Haskins. Dwayne Haskins is a lot leaner, lost 7% body fat. What does this tell you about Dwayne Haskins? To me, it actually tells me he's got a little bit of a chip on his shoulder, and he's actually doing what he can to work on his craft. I think if you're a Redskins fan, you should be encouraged. Now, to me, the body weight doesn't necessarily matter, especially for an NFL quarterback. You can be lean like Matt Ryan and be successful. You can be bigger like Ben Roethlisberger and be successful. But the guy's got a chip, and he does appear to be working hard.
Good.
Well, it shows he's taking it seriously, which is what he should be, because he knows that, especially with the new coaching staff coming in, he's going to be heavily scrutinized. He was scrutinized as a rookie when he was thrown into the fire, when he wasn't 100% ready, and he's showing that he's taking his career seriously at a pretty young age.
And by the way, there's nothing else to do. All he's doing is working out. He's up there at Tyson's in subfield throwing balls all day to receivers.
It's a good sign
There's
as
nothing
far
else
as
to
I'm
do.
concerned. Very good
100%.
sign. Doesn't mean much, but it's a good sign. It means, like you say, he's taking his craft seriously. I do think he's got a huge chip on his shoulder. That's obvious. It looks like he's going to use that to his advantage. There's only so much you can do throwing to high school guys and whoever, but, you know, it's a good sign. I mean, it's definitely better than
body fat is a lot. That's pretty significant. I don't know what his body fat was at before, but that's a significant difference.
Yeah, well, I mean, by some of the images you can tell he looks leaner, which I don't care. You could be kind of doughy and play the position. I mean, look at Ben Roethlisberger. You don't have to be ripped. But it just shows a dedication to his craft and a seriousness.
I mean, when he's zooming in to Ron Rivera, you don't want him looking like Awad did when he zoomed in with us, with Max Major over the weekend, with coffee stains on his shirt and 100 different stains on his sweatpants, which I'm not sure what those are all from.
And multiple pizza boxes on the floor.
Yeah.
If you want to see the video, go to thefandc.com/video. They've actually really hooked up the website, and the page looks really good. So Cakes and I on Saturday morning had Max Major on, and just so that we could record it and have that put onto the video page, we had Awad participate. And
did he do a virtual trick?
The background was atrocious. He lives in squalor. It's not a shock.
Well, he gave me a Bundesliga fatty on Saturday, so I'm glad he
so you're happy
was around for that.
You could care less.
Did Max Major do the virtual trick like he did on the what's the show with
America's Got Talent?
Yeah, America's Got Talent.
Yeah, he did 3 of them.
Yeah.
He did a card trick with me, with Cakes. I think he had Cakes pick an item in his house and keep it off camera.
Yeah.
And then he did the old pick a number trick.
And he nailed them all.
Yep, of course he did.
Of course.
I don't know
Was
how
there
he does
any
it.
prep? Did he talk to you before the bits, Cakes?
Just setting up logistics-wise, yes. But it's not
did.
like, yeah.
So it makes me wonder.
No. He just set up.
Plant any seeds?
No, he just wanted to make sure that we had the materials that he needed, like
It's
have a
magic,
Sharpie with you,
Vic. Don't you understand? It's magic.
have cards with you. Yeah,
Yeah.
so you can check that out at thefandc.com/video. So the Haskins news, I think, is a positive for Redskins fans. Now, this is an ex-Redskin, but we kicked it around on Friday. What is Quentin Dunbar going to say that he wasn't involved in this armed robbery? Because multiple witnesses said that at this party in Florida on Wednesday night, some sort of cookout, that Quentin Dunbar and DeAndre Baker, who is a first-round pick corner for the Giants, and a third man in a mask, robbed them of money and watches. Mm-hmm. Multiple witnesses said that Quentin Dunbar was part of this. Mm-hmm. Well, the attorneys said both of the attorneys for both guys said they're innocent, and they have witnesses who say they didn't do this.
They're the same witnesses.
Yeah.
They're the same people who accused them of being who they, Baker and Dunbar. Now they're recanting their stories.
So what they did, they paid him to change
I don't
the
know.
story?
That's what it feels like. That's what I was speculating.
Well, when I first read the story and heard the story, I just said to myself, I can't believe that these two cats are this stupid.
Yeah.
Right.
Right? They're this dumb that they're pissed off about some gambling debt or some card game that they're going to rob guys for $70,000. I couldn't believe it. And then now that these witnesses are coming out and they're recanting, I don't know what to believe now.
I know, it's crazy. Well, I think we talked about it when you were here, right? Because it was Wednesday.
No.
We didn't. We talked about
No,
it on
because the
Friday.
story came out Thursday after.
Yeah. So we talked about it on Friday, and I was like, give me a scenario where this makes any sense, where Dunbar can plead some sort of innocence. And it's really the only one that I heard over the weekend was that he wasn't even there. But I don't even think that one's holding water at this point. So some people were throwing out there that those guys, and I'm sure you read about it, that they had lost money at a previous card game. Maybe they felt like they were cheated or something.
Right.
And so they were just kind of taking it in their own hands, and they were going to get their money back.
Yeah.
There's also, the way I read it initially, it almost seemed like Baker was ordering everybody around.
Right.
So maybe you could say, maybe Dunbar was feared for his life because, Baker
had the
pointed a
gun.
gun at him and said, hey, go do this. And so what else am I going to do?
Well, the original story had Dunbar with a gun, too. And then they
Right, which he may have.
I guess I don't know if they corrected that or if a witness said he didn't have a gun.
So I don't know if he did or he didn't, but even if he did, let's say he did have a gun. If a guy points a gun at you and tells you to do something, you still might be probably going to listen to the guy. I don't know.
But the question is, and I'm not a lawyer, but if those same witnesses recant their story and they say, no, it wasn't those guys, then how can you charge them?
It'd be
It
hard.
just depends on what the prosecutor decides. Like if the prosecutor says, well, I got 6 witnesses who swore that these guys were there and now they're all recanting, I think it would be very tough to move forward on the case because you have to believe in your heart that you're going to be able to get a guilty prosecution. And if you go before a jury, what are they going to believe? That's a reasonable doubt.
And then why are they recanting?
Well, probably, as EB said, Quentin Dunbar and DeAndre Baker, NFL players who are making millions, are probably saying, hey, look, we'll give you back your loot and we'll give you some extra too.
Right, give you a sweetener.
So you think they contacted all those guys, and
Or
what if
word
they
got out
didn't
somehow.
even know them? I mean, what if they didn't know all those witnesses?
The other theory that I had is that it was a setup by these guys who knew the NFL players, and they concoct the crazy story that they were robbed at gunpoint and stuff so that they'll get paid off. I don't know. That's
Yeah,
wacky. It really doesn't make
I
any
guess
sense.
that's a possibility too. Yeah.
Anything's possible. It just seems bizarre.
But if
I
they
don't know.
did do it, and
the
obviously that's
dumbest
the
people
big
ever.
question, they're the dumbest people on the
And
planet.
that's what I said on Friday. So
Correct.
if he's ultimately innocent, I guess I owe Quentin Dunbar an apology. But let's see how it plays out.
Right.
Now,
and
also-
then, by the way, Thursday. So the story comes out Thursday. So the alleged incident happened Wednesday night. He's on a virtual conference call, like a Zoom call, with the Seattle media Thursday,
Right.
Talking about his character.
talking about his character.
Yeah.
Saying, hey, I just want people to recognize I'm a good dude, yada yada yada. And I just reading the story, going, wait a minute, you're telling the media in the city of Seattle you're a good dude and you just rob people of 70 grand? Now I'm hoping, like you, Eric, I'm hoping that those guys weren't involved, but we'll see.
Yeah.
I think ultimately they're going to get away with it. If all of the witnesses who said they did something then recant, how do you move forward with the case?
It's
I mean, I
hard.
guess you could be a stubborn prosecutor and say, well, we get it. They probably were paid off. We're going to move forward with the charges anyway because police showed up. And when police showed up, they got witness accounts, sworn witness accounts. Maybe they move forward, but I would bet that they don't.
See what happens when you go to a quarantine cookout? Bad things
Right.
happen. Stay at home. Don't be stupid.
But he, of course, is an ex-Redskin. There
Yeah.
was a current Redskin who was arrested over the weekend. That's Cody Latimer, who was a wide receiver they picked up. And Latimer was arrested, faces assault charges, weapons charges. I believe he was booked on assault in the second degree, illegal discharge of a firearm, and he prohibited use of a weapon, reckless endangerment. Does Ron Rivera keep him on the roster? It's supposed to be
wouldn't.
a culture change, right?
If he did all these things, and again, we just talked about that other
Yeah,
case.
if
If
he
he
did,
did
it's
them, yeah, he's
over.
done. He's done ski.
Yeah. He's not, he's barely decent.
I mean, the Caps cut the guy for just talking about some players' wives.
Yeah.
If he does this, he's shooting a gun in an apartment. Yeah, he's done ski. It's not
Most
like
likely.
he's not
You would
Randy
think.
Moss.
Right. He's very expendable.
Yeah.
He's not even Thaddeus Moss.
No.
So I would
Just
say
shows you people are losing their minds in the
They
quarantine
are,
case. People you got to get everybody
Blame it
back
on
into the
COVID.
routine.
Do we
Blame
have-
it on the corona.
Do we have any of the details? Because it sounded like it could have been like a potential crime of passion type of situation where he goes to the apartment encounters
His
somebody-
girl with another guy.
Yeah.
Could have been, yeah.
I think that was the underlying kind of theme.
Well, they said that one of the guys had an injury, but it wasn't because of the gunshot.
Right.
So he went in there and hit him over the head with a gun.
Ooh, maybe he did what Ray Liotta did to the dude across the street in Goodfellas.
Right.
Yeah, just pistol whipped him. Who
But
knows?
you're right.
I
Just
don't know.
reading the stories, I'm going, man, maybe it's higher than 85%. These guys are just and in the NFL, it's way higher than 85%.
They just know how to throw their careers away, don't they?
Well,
By the way, his
they're
mugshot.
trying.
Did you guys see his mugshot?
Yeah.
Look, he's styling. He's got his head leaning to the side.
Yeah, I looked at it for 2 seconds.
But is there any question if he did do it that he's gone?
Oh, he's gone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. But he's not worth it. The guy catches 10 to 15 balls
Now, if
a year.
it's Terry McLaurin, I'm keeping him.
Really, yeah, it's a different story.
But I'm not keeping Cody Latimer.
It's
I'm
like
sorry.
what Jimmy Johnson said. If Evan Smith falls asleep in the meeting, it's different than if, his backup does.
Yeah.
Well, I know that some of you guys haven't watched The Last Dance, but they showed, the last series with the Utah Jazz, and Rodman left in the middle of the series, just skipped out on a practice completely, didn't tell anybody, to go to WCW to wrestle with Hulk Hogan, and everybody was distraught. Phil Jackson was shaking his head, saying it's a huge disruption. They just fined him. They needed him on the court.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Phil definitely had different rules for different guys, and they definitely you could even see. I thought it was stunning. You could see MJ kind of defending and deferring to Rodman in practice. There was a scene or two where he's like, "Hey, coach, Dennis got to do." I was like, wow, everyone's scared of Dennis. Everyone there
those
was
rebounds.
but they know they needed him, so they kind of let him, go to Vegas, go do WCW. They didn't really want it, but they just had to manage it.
So same thing with the Redskins. They would need a Terry McLaurin. They don't need a Cody Latimer.
They don't need him.
That was an addition in the offseason and was going to add some depth to the wide receiver room, but he was going to be more than likely the number 4 receiver.
Right. There are a million Cody Latimers just floating around waiting for a call from
Correct.
an NFL team.
Correct.
Yeah, these guys
And then
don't
the
know.
final